Well, hi everybody, this is Dear Mama Sal, and this is a special video, and it's for Alexis Young, who wrote to me recently and asked me if I could do an update on my non-smoking. So Alexis, hope you get to see this, because this one's specially for you. First of all, Alexis, tomorrow I will have not smoked for 140 days, and so that's a big benchmark for me tomorrow. Very exciting. And I tried to think what questions you would have asked me. And so let me hope that I've answered some of the things you wanted. And if I haven't, just write and ask me and I'll add them to another video. All right, I thought you'd ask me, what did I do right this time? Because you probably gather I've given up smoking with just about every single means there's ever been. And it never really felt that I had quit, whereas this time it feels very different. And so I tried to think about what did I do differently this time. The number one thing I did differently was about a year before I quit, I bought an e-cigarette, an electronic cigarette. And I haven't got my good one with me here, but I've got a small one. And this one, actually the batteries run out. Otherwise I would puff it and show you what happens. But for those of you who don't know, what happens is it's basically a cigarette, but it doesn't burn any of the usual stuff. It actually burns water vapor. And so the smoke that you see isn't smoke at all, it's just water vapor. And I will do a demonstration with it if anybody would like me to. I'll get my other one out of the trailer because I think that's where it is right now, and just show you how it works. So I got this like a year before, and I consciously started to smoke an e-cigarette rather than a cigarette in the places where I smoked mindlessly. That would be in the car. That would be when I'm on the computer. That would be when smokers come to visit. And so any of those what I call places where I would just smoke without thinking, that's where I would smoke the e-cigarette. So I could sit down with a friend and smoke with them. The only thing was that I wasn't smoking real cigarettes, I was smoking the e-cigarette. So I got the feeling that I was smoking with them without smoking as much. And even if I did it every other one, you understand I was cutting back dramatically. How well did it work? Well, quite honestly, Alexis, it cut down my smoking by half in about 3 months. I was quite amazed that it worked that well. And then off and on during the year, I sort of smoked a bit more, smoked a bit less, but generally kept smoking the e-cigarette. I really found that that worked for me. Great for in the car. And what I did in the car was that I would challenge myself to go one more traffic light each morning on the way to work. In other words, you know, don't smoke until you get to the first traffic light. And then when I did that, then the next day I'd go, okay, don't smoke until you get to the second one. Or if the second one was a long way away from the first, which in one part of my journey it was, I'd find another landmark and say, well, just, you know, wait until here. So I do little tricks like that with myself to try and encourage myself not to smoke. When I did quit, I stopped on the patch. And as you know, I did so on January the 12th at 9 o'clock. I know exactly when it was. And I actually did get up on the morning of January the 12th and have 2 cigarettes before I left home. And for those of you who've been following my stuff this year, you will know that on January the 12th, I went down to go and visit Juliana, Benji and Judy and Juliana in their new house. And that, quite honestly, was the final motivation for me. My primary motivation had been that my tenant Yvonne had given up smoking. And I had said to her in a wild moment of good intention that if, and she did that last September, I believe, and I said, if you still quit in January, then I will seriously consider quitting as well. So January came, and then I was going to visit Juliana and Benji and Judy. And so I slapped on a patch that morning at 9 o'clock and drove. And I was pretty sure the patch would carry me through the weekend without a problem because I'd used the patch before. But would it stop me wanting one when I came back through the border? Would it stop me from going to the duty-free and picking up a carton of cigarettes? And funny enough, it did. I don't know quite why. But I chose not to get any cigarettes on the way back. And whether anybody believes me or not is okay, but I have not had a puff of a cigarette since 9 o'clock on January the 12th, 2013. Not a puff. Nothing. I've had friends over who smoke, and I've sat with them and I've chatted with them while they smoked and not felt the need to smoke at all. So what else did I do right? I really did give the cigarette the name of the devil this time. I just kept talking back to it and saying, I know that you want me to go back to smoking, you little devil, and I choose not to. I kept saying I choose not to. I wanted it to be really strong that I was talking back to it and making the conscious choice not to smoke. And I did do it by the day. In other words, I just say, today I choose not to smoke. And sometimes I had to do it by the hour. I choose not to smoke for the next hour. And I have to tell you that sometimes it's been by the minute. I choose not to smoke this minute, depending on how bad the situation was. So what were the challenges? Quite honestly, everything was a challenge for the first few months. I'd love to tell you otherwise. I'd love to tell you it was easy, that the patch worked well. I normally don't wear the patch for more than about a month. After that, I think it's a waste of money. You've either decided you're going to quit or you haven't. And I had decided I would, so I wore the patch maybe for most 6 weeks, I would think. And then after that, it was just like, okay, fine. The worst of it's through your system. Now you've just got to get rid of the cravings. And you can only do that the hard way. That's day by day. Quite honestly, it has been easier the last couple of weeks. I've got to say that I haven't really been as conscious of it. And the few times that I do think about it, I don't think about it strongly enough to even want to go and get my e-cigarette out of the trailer, which is where it was for when I went away, in case I got tempted while I was away. If it ever does get too much, then you understand that when I'm crawling, like this, then I smoke my e-cigarette for just a couple of puffs and it's normally just fine. And that's it for maybe another week. And so that's a great thing. So Alexis, any other questions that you have, make sure you ask them of me and I'll gladly answer them for you. But that's my update, 140 days tomorrow. Very excited. And let's keep on going, see if we can make it to 6 months and then we'll be on our way to a year. This is Dear Mama Sal's saying thank you so much for asking. Bye bye for now.